north of 750,000, as well as the vice president of the St. Louis Economic Development Council, where the population served there was just north of 1 million. It's great to have Steve on the team. We have Chuck that's right beside Steve. It's great to have Chuck remaining with the team, and I think we have a lot of good things to look forward to. So,
Great.
Steve, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Steve, we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
And then, Mayor and Council, there are a couple of very good things that are happening right now that I'd like to bring to your attention. The first one, in terms of our priority area, lifelong learning. Last night, there was somewhat of a passing of the torch of Smart Beginnings over to this new concept of the Elevate Early Education. I think you may have seen it at E3. And in that program last night, Gary McCullum, the Vice President of Cox, who's been spearheading this E3 effort, basically unveiled a demonstration project which will be the only kind in the state that relates to early education. And I do want to thank, is Christine here today? Christine Morris, who's been on the team a very short period of time, but she's been played a very important role in the early beginnings of Smart Beginnings, as well as this transition to E3. And behind me, what you have is the first project, the Early Education Demonstration Project, that will be in Park Place. So, as you will recall, recently the ribbon was cut to open up the Granby Street Y. Well, this E3 initiative will be setting beside the Granby Street Y. It's something that this council discussed when this project came about. The great news is that the support from the private sector and the community has raised $10 million. It's donated to this project. It will serve 104 children from the ages 1 to 5. It's mixed income, and it's going to be a case study for the rest of the state to see how early childhood initiatives can be beneficial in this terms of lifelong learning. So it's really kudos for the city to have this type of project here in Norfolk as a part of the Park Place community. And then secondly, we don't have Ron Williams here tonight, or John Kuiper or Jim Reddick. They're actually in New York, and there is a forum that's occurring right now, the H209 forum. It's Water Challenges for Coastal Cities. And we have people from across the world there, and it's great to have Norfolk at the table. So New York, New Orleans, Norfolk, the Netherlands, and there are concepts now dealing with flooding that moved from just the city to the region, and now their entire East Coast. So we're very proud to have a team up there that's also participating. For tonight's agenda, we have a closed session. We moved it up front. There are a couple of really big matters that I think we'll need to spend some time on, as well as we'll have Alice to discuss the upcoming bond financing. Last week we were in New York presenting to the 3 rating agencies. I thought there was a very good story for the city to tell. There was a request, I believe, a couple of weeks ago about our smart processing, and so David's going to give you an additional update. And then lastly, we have Sarah here tonight to give you an update for the CSB. Each year you vote on the performance contract, and we made a commitment to you that we would discuss the contract before you vote on it. So that is tonight's agenda, as well as some of the good news I wanted to bring to your attention.
Good. Just one comment about the Early Childhood Center in Park Place. That is a really significant piece of good news. Some of you will remember that the city made available to the Y I think it was about $924,000 piece of property for the construction, with the anticipation that an early childhood center would accompany the Y. And this is now fulfilling that promise, but it's gone actually beyond it, because it looks like not only to me are they going to build it, but there will be sufficient funds available to operate it for the long term as well. So, and I know there'll be other monies coming, so this was, it's really significant. We'll all be proud when that thing opens. Andy?
Yes.
Nothing? Mr. Reddick?
Yeah, a couple of things. And I was reading this morning, and most of you probably already knew about it, that the superintendent's initiative for open high school I didn't know that it came with a for-profit group running it to the tune of $700,000. And so I'm wondering where the $700,000 is going to come from. Now, that $700,000 is to provide services for approximately 200 students. And I'm believe that there will probably be some other fees involved, with this. But what do we do? What does the school board do next year? Come back and tell us? And I'm sure that if they do sign this contract with this group, that it'll be a 3 or 5% increase, per year. And so they'll be coming back to us, asking us for, an extra $1 million. And when the superintendent made these proposals about the charter schools and things of that nature, he didn't, at least I don't remember him saying there was an additional cost like this outside of the budget that would be attached to it. And the school board still has to vote on it. And I'm just hoping that they, take a really good look at it, because that's a lot of money. I mean, what it is, we already have a challenged budget, and you're gonna add another $1 million on top of it. And then when they come back to us, in the spring, it make us look bad as a council, saying that we're not funding them, to the level that we should. But then they come up with something like this that I think that, we really need to look at. We need to talk to the school board members, the superintendent, as well as the chairman of the school board. Also, in connection with education, and most of you probably remember, maybe you don't, when Norfolk resegregated its elementary schools, there was a promise made that the schools that were affected in the inner city would have teachers with more experience, more advanced degrees, more library books and things of that nature. Now, you all know, or we all believe, that you can't hold one administration or one school board responsible for what another one made maybe 30 years ago. But the problem that it was mentioned this morning is that Compostela Elementary School has 8 brand new teachers. And so somehow I believe that these teachers need some type of support, whether it's in bringing retired teachers back to, give them assistance, or getting people to come into the rooms to help them. But 8 brand new teachers at Compostela Elementary School, a school that didn't make the mark already, I think further makes it a challenge. And the final thing I have is that there are still a lot of complaints about the fugitive dust that comes from the shipyards over in Berkeley and Compostela. And I know it comes under Public Works, and a couple of times they have had people from the shipyards or Department of DEQ to come out and give us explanation. But somehow we have to hold these shipyards accountable, because there are people in the community who believe that this fugitive dust affect children as far as asthma is concerned, and some of the learning issues that a child might have as they mature, just from inhaling this fugitive dust. A lot of the older members of the community over there are having problems with it. So somehow we have to get with the shipyards. The shipyards are they're a necessary evil. They provide employment, and they've been a part of Norfolk forever. Somehow we just need to find a way to capture this fugitive dust that's going into the community. Okay, that's all I have.
I just have one quick item, and I know this person has approached Bernard also about when groups have, I guess, large flea markets or different type events, that maybe we could have a master business license to cover that special event on a certain day, rather than each individual who participates having to go to a license. Bernard, could you look into that, whether that can be done, or whether we want to do it, or?
We have, that I think the request is for not-for-profits, so fundraising entities, that they'll hold a festival like the Roritan Club at Granby High School. And currently, each participant, ice cream, any vendor, has got to get a separate license. And some of our neighboring communities have a blanket license. And some of the charities are the opinion that they'd be more successful in holding these events if we also had the option of one license for charitable fundraiser.
What are the steps to getting this done?
Why don't I send our opinion to the manager and give him an opportunity to look at it and ask somebody to work on it, evaluate it.
That's all I have, Mayor.
So our retreat is 2 weeks from today, right? So do we have an agenda on that? And do we as, at what point do you want us to weigh in on topics?
Typically, what occurs is over the course of the year, you give me topics. So we have issues such as tax indexing, for lack of a better word, neighborhood and funding for neighborhoods, infrastructure. I can send out what I have up to date.
It's not too late to add other topics.
We also have, we always give you a resource book, and we're going to get it out to you earlier this
I
year.
was really more concerned about the topics.
Sure.
And education was supposed to have a bigger role in that. Did that change? Because we told the school board that we were going to involve them somehow.
Right, I thought that what came out of the last discussion was to have a separate half-day retreat between the council and the school board, as opposed to having the school board come out to the retreat this month.
I think it'd be difficult with their schedules for us
No,
to just tell
I
them.
thought we were carving out time to talk about education, and maybe Dr. King and some of his, and maybe Dr. Houston would just come out and be part of that discussion, not separate. I can go back and watch the video, but I thought that's what I thought we were just gonna have time to talk about
Around
it.
here, what
for-
we could do, I mean, someone mentioned some of the neighborhoods,
Right.
and that, if part of our role might be to improve some of the infrastructure around some of our most challenged schools, that the environment itself could be more conducive to learning.
Well, I had asked that we hear from them every week until we're out of this crisis. And I think that what we decided then is that we would then discuss it at the retreat, since it deals with scheduling,
Right.
that we would discuss that at the retreat as to how frequent, if it's not once a week, every other week, but that they're here. So I thought we were taking that up at the retreat to be discussed. So I think that was the spinoff of that at some point.
I think that's right.
So if we carve out some time to discuss that, we really need to get a frequency on hearing back from them what they're doing on a weekly basis. And as I said, I don't want it, don't give it to me in a CD. I want them to look me in the face now. I mean, we're at that point. So, and I think we all seem to agree with this. We just got to get a frequency on it.
Speaking of frequency. I do think that, and Tommy was agreeing with me, that when the final reports come in for all of the various communities across the Commonwealth, that we will find a lot of communities that are struggling with their grades on the SOLs. And we're not alone, and so, I mean, it's going to be a lot larger than people think.
Well, I thought that we'd also, while we're talking about agenda items, I mean, we had talked about, the work of the board and the task force and the committees, and that we would talk about this. And
That's
we,
a part.
okay, so that's part of it. And the
Sure.
other,
Carve out an
First
hour
day.
for, did you
First
carve
day
out an
early
hour?
on.
good, thank you.
Did you
And-
carve out an hour for Terry and I to do the presentation?
Tommy gets 50 minutes, I get 10. And also the legislative agenda.
Yes.
I spoke to Marcus earlier, so.
I'd like to hear from the chief of police, if possible, at the retreat for a few minutes. We had that Trayvon Martin situation in Florida, and there was a lot of uproar about the verdict and what happened. But we have kids here, and the vice mayor has commented on it several different times. We have people, we have shootings and we have killings, and we have shootings and we have killings, and it's like there's no uproar here about what happens here. So I'd like to find some time in the retreat to talk about what we can do as a city to curb some of the gun violence. You know, I don't have the answer, but there's got to be something that we can do to make our streets safer for children, for citizens, so that we don't have these continuous homicides, this continual gun violence over and over and over again. That's all I have.
Two quick things, speeding on Ocean View Avenue. And I don't know if you saw, a drunk driver went through a convenience store down there. But there's been a concern from citizens about speeding. I can tell you in the morning that most of the traffic that's on Ocean View Avenue is coming from Virginia Beach because they're using it as a cut through when the interstate backs up or going to the military base. So it'd be great if we would step up some patrols and get the money out of Virginia Beach citizens. You'll get some Norfolk ones too. For speeding.
But they need lawyers to defend it.
Yeah, and help Andy out. The second one is the Dominion Power, the transmission line replacement. They're in the process now of putting the new poles in. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but they're putting the poles in that in probably 5 years are going to be completely rusty. If you've looked at them in other places. And we know that in Ocean View 2, the salt air really, I'm just wondering if, once again, I know that it's their property and they're doing what they want to do on it, but I'm concerned that it's going to look awful in a couple of years as they start rusting. And why are they coating them with anything that will help the longevity of them? I know John Kiefer's not here, but I'd love for them to paint them black, but I know they're not going to do that. But just some people have asked about it because of you can just go anywhere where they put them in and they're starting to rust, and it just looks bad in the community, and that's it.
Are they actually rusting or are they just turning color? I mean, are they,
They're rust.
they're corroding?
Yeah, they're corrode. Yeah, right now they're really nice silver metal. You know, but over time they'll corrode, rust.
Sometimes they can weather and not corrode.
Yeah, I don't know. Just somebody if they want to see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're wrong.
Look, I don't want to slow things down. I know we're going to vote on chickens tonight, okay? Did we ever decide if a dog bites a chicken, what we have to do with the dog, by the way? Did we ever really come to terms with that?
State law says you gotta kill the dog.
Okay.
Bernard said there's latitude.
What it was is the state law said that a person could shoot or kill the dog if they had to if they came up on it, right?
That's right. A citizen has the option to attend to that
To
situation.
assist the chicken?
And an animal control officer has the duty to, we've got a little memo if you wanted it on analyzing the liability
Just
for
tell me what
us.
it says, I mean, just
We don't see it as a significant exposure
for us.
for us.
Oh, I never thought of, okay. I just,
A
somebody.
little tough on the dog.
But you do that at the
So we don't care about the chicken, I
It's
guess,
tough
we
on-
decided
it's tough
dogs
on-
are good. and
Find
things
us
are-
or we can't go
Dogs are
let
gonna
him
bite
touch that
chickens.
chicken.
Yeah.
And Marcus, tell me, when the chicken crosses the road, okay, that we're not gonna send a police officer after the chicken, okay?
It happens now.
I mean,
People have chickens in the city now.
well, they shouldn't, but I just don't want this to be a law enforcement issue for us. I mean, we don't have enough code guys as it is, but we're not hiring anybody else. Okay, you think animal control can do all this?
That's right. I think the cases, let's say if there are a little bit less than a dozen now, let's say 10 cases, it may go up to 50. But that's just an estimate, and the concept is they can be absorbed within the existing resources that we have.
Okay, all right, so we're gonna go into closed session, right?
Yes.
Whether members of council.
Well, you're making this much more important than it is. to just let this go, and just let the
I'm gonna
winds
vote
carry
against it.
along.
I'm not
I heard when he runs again, there's a group that's they're gonna glue chickens to his yard signs, little images of chickens.
This position of publicly held real property is like right here. Mr. Burford?
Did you say personnel?
Mr. Protogiru?
Aye.
Mr. Riddick?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Wynn?
Aye.
Mr. Frame?
Aye.